This is not just a story. This is the full history of Islam. One man, one cave, one night. How did he unite Arabia, a land in its darkest age, in just 23 years? How did the Islamic State surpass even Rome in only 100 years? From an orphan child to a civilization ruling 3 continents. From our prophet to the 4 caliphs, the Umayyads, Abbasids, and Ottomans. 900 years of Islam in 60 minutes, the late 6th century. The world was exhausted from wars between the Byzantine and Sasanian empires. Justice belonged to the strong, slavery was normal, oppression ordinary, mercy rare. At the edge of the world, surrounded by deserts, a scene was prepared that would change history. Our story begins in Mecca, politically unimportant, but at the heart of trade routes. Tribes, blood feuds, and idols filled the land. At its center stood the Kaaba, Ibrahim's legacy, now shadowed by 360 idols. Society lived in Jahiliyyah. The weak, orphans, and women had no value. Baby girls were buried alive, so there would be no shame. Around 570, Abraha, the Abyssinian governor of Yemen, marched on Mecca with 60,000 soldiers and 9 war elephants to destroy the Kaaba. When his army reached the gates, the lead elephant Mahmud refused to move toward the Kaaba. Then the sky darkened. Thousands of Ababil birds carrying stones descended. Abraha's army was destroyed. This miracle proclaimed that Mecca was under divine protection. That same year, on April 20th, 571, an orphan was born who would change humanity's destiny. Muhammad saw. His father died before his birth, his mother Amina when he was 6, his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, then uncle Abu Talib raised him. In harsh Mecca, being orphaned was difficult, but this child was different. He worked as a shepherd, joined trade caravans, observed people. Mecca gave him a title, Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. He never lied, showed mercy to all, helped everyone. He was disturbed by Mecca's system, but did not rebel. He searched for truth in the Hira cave that it was Ramadan 610. Muhammad, now 40, was alone in Hira cave. Angel Jibril appeared. Read. Muhammad trembled. I cannot read. 3 times the command came. Then, read in the name of your Lord who created. This was not invitation, it was duty. He ran home shaking, told Khadijah, cover me. She comforted him and immediately believed. A new command came, rise and warn. The first 3 years passed as secret preaching. A small group gathered, slaves, youth, orphans, the oppressed and wealthy traders. The early Muslims risked their lives. By 613, the call became public. Muhammad climbed Mount Safa and warned all Mecca. Torture began. The Yasser family was martyred. Bilal cried, Ahad, Ahad, with a stone on his chest. A 3-year boycott followed. Muslims survived on tree bark. 619 became the year's sorrow. Khadijah and Abu Talib died. The Prophet went to Taif seeking support, but was stoned and expelled bleeding. Jibril offered to crush the city between mountains, but Muhammad refused. Perhaps their descendants will believe. Mercy defined prophethood. During pilgrimage seasons, tribes from Yathrib, Medina, came, listened, and pledged support at Aqaba. Muslims began migrating quietly in 622. Quraysh plotted to kill Muhammad with representatives from each tribe, but he passed among them unseen. In Medina, children sang Tala al-Badru alayna. The Prophet's camel knelt where Masjid an-Nabawi stands today. He established the Medina Charter, one of history's first constitutions, and created brotherhood between Muhajirin and Ansar. Islam was no longer just a call. It became a system. In 624, Abu Jahl led 1,000 Meccans to Badr. The Muslims numbered 313. Rain fell, firming Muslim ground while turning the enemies to mud. Angels joined the battle. Abu Jahl fell. The first great victory. 625 brought Uhud. 3,000 Meccans faced 700 Muslims. The Prophet positioned 50 archers on a pass with strict orders not to leave. Victory seemed certain until the archers abandoned their posts. Khalid ibn Walid attacked from behind. Panic spread. The Prophet was wounded, his tooth broken, face bleeding. Hamza was martyred along with 70 Muslims. Uhud taught obedience, and discipline. 6:27 saw the Battle of the Trench. 10,000 enemies surrounded Medina. Salman al-Farisi suggested digging a trench, a Persian defense tactic. The siege failed when a violent storm scattered the enemy. Intelligence won the day. 6:28. The Prophet sought to perform Umrah with 1,400 unarmed Muslims. Stopped at Hudaybiyah, harsh treaty terms angered the companions. It looked like surrender. But Allah called it a clear victory. Within 2 years, Islam spread through peace. By 630, Muhammad returned to Mecca with 10,000 followers. The conquest was bloodless, an epic of forgiveness. As idols fell, truth has come, echoed through the sky. Letters went to world leaders: Heraclius of Byzantium, Khosrow of Persia, Makakis of Egypt. No one took them seriously. 10 years later, Byzantium lost Syria. 20 years later, Persia vanished. 30 years later, Egypt became Muslim. In 632, during the farewell Hajj with 100,000 Muslims, the Prophet proclaimed, "No Arab is superior to a non-Arab, nor white over black. Your lives, property, and honor are sacred. Treat women well. I leave you the Quran and Sunnah." Then, have I conveyed the message? Yes. O Allah, bear witness. Islam was complete. Months later, on a Monday morning, Muhammad passed away, whispering Rafiq Allah. Abu Bakr became the first caliph through democratic selection. His inaugural speech established accountability. The leader is not above the people. Arabia erupted in rebellion. 70% returned to idols or followed false prophets like Musaylama. Abu Bakr sent 11 armies. At Yamama, 13,000 Muslims faced 40,000 rebels. 700 Muslims died, including 360 Quran memorizers. Victory came, but the loss prompted collection of the Quran into a single book. Umar, 634 to 644, transformed Islam from regional to global power. At Firaz, 15,000 Muslims faced 150,000 Byzantine Persian allies and won. At Yarmouk River, 40,000 Muslims defeated 200,000 Byzantines. Heraclius wept, "Farewell Syria." At Qadisiyah, 30,000 Muslims destroyed 120,000 Persians. The Sasanian Empire fell. Egypt opened Africa's gates. Total conquered area, 5.5 million square kilometers. Umar was martyred in 644 by a Persian slave during dawn prayer. Uthman, 644 to 656, sent Quran copies worldwide, ensuring unity. Conquests reached Cyprus and North Africa. Islamic naval power emerged, defeating Byzantium's 500-ship fleet with only 200. But Uthman's appointment of relatives caused unrest. Rebels surrounded his house. He was martyred reading Quran, his blood marking the first great fracture. Ali, 656 to 661, inherited chaos. The Battle of the Camel erupted over Uthman's killers. At Siffin, 90,000 supporters of Ali faced 120,000 under Muawiyah. When Syrians raised Qurans on spears, calling for arbitration, fighting stopped but solved nothing. The Kharijites emerged, declaring believers unbelievers. At Narawan, they were crushed, but survivors plotted revenge. On 21 Ramadan 661, Ali was martyred. The era of the rightly guided caliphs ended after 29 years. Muawiyah transformed the caliphate into a dynasty, moving the capital to Damascus. The greatest expansion occurred from the Atlantic to Central Asia. In 711, Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed Gibraltar, burned his ships, and conquered Visigothic Spain. Al-Andalus was born, but 680 brought Karbala, the deepest wound. Yazid's tyranny led to Hussein's martyrdom on the Euphrates banks with 72 companions. This tragedy permanently divided Islam into Sunni and Shia. The Umayyads' Mawali policy treated non-Arab Muslims as second-class citizens, betraying Islam's universal brotherhood. Despite military might, This injustice bred internal decay. Point one light emerged. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz, the fifth caliph, who in just 2 years abolished discrimination, restored justice, and ended palace luxury. His death returned darkness. In 750, Khorasani revolt ended Umayyad rule. Black-bannered Abbasid armies won at the Zab River. Only Abd al-Rahman escaped to Spain, founding the Umayyad state of Al-Andalus. The capital shifted to Baghdad on the Tigris. Islam became a civilization for all humanity. The Battle of Talas, 751, brought Turks into Islam en masse. Persian culture merged with Islamic thought. Muslim traders carried Islam to sub-Saharan Africa, Mali, Songhai, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Deserts, steppes, forests, and oceans all heard the call. Beit al-Hikmah, House of Wisdom, became the world's greatest knowledge center. Greek philosophy, Indian mathematics, Egyptian geometry, and Persian literature were translated. Scientific revolution followed. Khwarizmi introduced zero and algebra. Ibn Sina's canon of medicine taught Europe for 600 years. Al-Biruni calculated Earth's circumference with stunning accuracy. While Europe debated if Earth was flat, Muslims mapped stars and wrote laws of optics. Harun al-Rashid sent Charlemagne a mechanical clock. Europeans thought it magic. Paper, gunpowder, navigation tools, and rational thought flowed westward. Islamic civilization led the world, but political power weakened. In 1258, Hulagu Khan entered Baghdad. Libraries burned, Beit al-Hikmah destroyed, books thrown in the Tigris. The river flowed black with ink. The Abbasid Caliphate ended. Yet many Mongols later accepted Islam, becoming its protectors. Baghdad fell, but Islam survived. Osman Ghazi's 1299 foundation in Sagat grew rapidly. Ottoman success came from military power and tolerance in conquered lands. Islam reached the Balkans, Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, Bosnia, Hungary. North Africa became Muslim seas. In 1517, Yavuz Sultan Selim conquered Egypt, and the caliphate passed to the Ottomans. May 29, 1453. Mehmet the Conqueror, aged 21, achieved the impossible. Moving ships overland, his cannons broke Constantinople's walls. This fulfilled Muhammad's 800-year-old promise. Islam now sat at the heart of the world on Eastern Rome's throne. Mehmet dreamed of Rome, the red apple, but his life ended before completing it. Yavuz Sultan Selim compressed a century's work into 8 years. After defeating the Safavids at Calderon and the Mamluks, he brought sacred relics to Istanbul. His son, Suleiman the Magnificent, Kanuni, reached Islam's golden age. When Islamic banners reached Vienna's gates, Europe trembled. If Vienna had fallen, no power could stop the advance to Paris or London. With Barbaros Hayreddin at sea and Mimar Sinan in architecture, Islam's greatness was carved into history. The Ottomans made Islam a global system. In the 16th century, a Muslim could travel from Morocco to Indonesia under the same law, currency, and respect. The greatest political integration Islam ever achieved. From one man in one cave to 3 continents ruled. From 313 at Badr to armies that shook empires. From buried daughters to protected rights. From tribal chaos to the world's most advanced civilization. This was not just religious history. This was humanity's fastest transformation. The light that began in Hira never dimmed. It spread through justice, knowledge, mercy, and faith, conquering not just lands, but hearts and minds across the world.